Are you nervous when you have to speak in front of people or present? Are you anxious about doing that? Well, we're here to help you. Welcome to Speak Smart Sessions, quick and easy tips for non-speakers. I'm Willem, international speaker on leadership, innovation and entrepreneurship, as well as the author of Side Hustle Success. Sitting here with Paul du Toit. Paul, please introduce yourself.
So I'm the author of 2 books on speaking. The one is called You Can Present with Confidence, and the other one is an effort that I co-authored with Alan Stevens. It's called The Exceptional Speaker, How to Deliver Sensational Speeches.
Thank you very much. Now, Paul, anxiety happens to everyone. I don't think it's a unique thing. We never outgrow it. But how would you define anxiety? What causes that as a speaker or presenter?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think very often the underlying cause of all anxiety is a feeling that one is not sufficiently prepared.
Okay.
Even if one is.
Yes.
But you can imagine that if you're a few hours or a few minutes away from delivering some kind of presentation, be it a keynote or a business presentation, and you've hardly prepared at all, your anxiety levels are likely to go right through the roof.
Most probably.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there are, I would say that the first thing that you need to understand quite simply is that if you've been given the opportunity to present to an audience, that your preparation should start way in advance, and that your preparation needs to go over a period of days, and there should be a number of hours involved if you're going to be doing it properly. But of course, those are not the only reasons for anxiety. It's not just a lack of preparation.
What else?
So there are a number of subsections. For instance, speakers feel anxious about what might happen at question time if they can't answer a question. There are other speakers that feel anxious about they are not delivering necessarily in their home or their mother tongue. So now they might lack the vocabulary necessary to bring their message across. So that's often something that creates anxiety. People also just sometimes fear that they might forget what they were going to say and just simply go blank.
Yeah, and that's an internal thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, very much so. And the other weird thing that people are scared of is, well, what if I just run out of stuff to say? In reality, it's exactly the opposite that normally happens. Is they've got too much to say and they run out of time within which to say.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So it's an actual preparation thing. So it's I don't want to say external thing, but it's an externally controlled thing and then an internally controlled thing.
Yeah, very much so.
So best preparation tips. How do you prepare for your keynotes? I know I have my method. I'm sure not all of us follow the same one.
Yeah, and it also depends very much on the nature of the keynote, the kind of audience that you're speaking to, and the extent of your knowledge on the topic. So obviously, you need to be very careful of accepting any kind of speaking engagement where you're speaking on a topic that you're not fully familiar with. But assuming that you have good base knowledge of the topic, generally with a keynote, it's a great idea to script it, even if you go off script, which normally happens.
Yes.
But if you can script your keynote, at least you can make sure that you put all the necessary things that you want to put into it. When it comes to a business presentation, I prefer the roadmap method, if you like, that you know that if you're traveling from Johannesburg to Durban, then en route there are certain towns along the way, and those are your checkpoints.
Yes.
So you use that as a methodology, and then you simply speak around each particular checkpoint. But at least there's a degree of preparation.
Yeah, I like that. I use something similar to the roadmap, but I would rather refer to it as story mapping.
Yeah.
I'll hold firm to this following statement. People forget data, they remember stories.
Oh, yeah.
And as a speaker, I can sometimes forget what I need to say, but if it follows a storyline,
Yes.
and just like you're driving to Durban, you go like, when you're here, okay, I know where I am, where should I go to next? You already know.
Yeah,
and then a story for me, if it flows and I know where I need to end, it makes it easier for me.
But what you've mentioned now, bringing stories into it, is a wonderful antidote to nervousness, because as you start telling a story, it automatically relaxes you because you know that it's something that the audience will relate to.
Yes.
We all love stories. We grow up as children being addicted to stories.
Yeah.
We won't let our parents leave us when we're supposed to go to sleep. We just want another story all the time. It's an addiction, and it doesn't matter. You can be 80 years old. You love stories.
Yeah, I have my major story, which is not necessarily the story that I tell, but it's made up of multiple little stories, because it's almost like a Hansel and Gretel thing.
Yes.
That follows on that. Also, with your preparation, you said many days before.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed once, and you said script the keynote. When you practice it, and you practice it another 5 times and another 5 times, after about 10 times, it comes alive. It starts to develop a flavor. And
it takes on a life of its own.
It really does, and it becomes something beautiful, and you can see how it moves and how you can shape within it. So the preparation is not for you not to make a mistake.
Yeah.
I think the preparation is more there for you to get intimate with your message and close to it, and allowing it time to grow.
And to familiarize yourself with the flow, so that you take the main points along with you, and eventually you can hit your main message at the end with a nice big hammer thwack, so that people remember why you've delivered your presentation. After all, your job is to get a message across.
Absolutely. So that's the actual preparation. I'm sure we will cover other elements, other podcasts later on about how to prepare, different specifics on that. But let's get to the psychological side of anxiousness.
Yeah.
What advice would you give there?
Okay, so the whole anxiety thing is, so there are a number of different fears that we have. We spoke about fear of question time, fear of the delivering in a language that's not your mother tongue. There's also the fear of being boring. There's the fear of just going blank. There's all sorts of things, but actually they all hone into one central fear.
Yes.
Now, if you go back to school and you ask yourself, what was your biggest fear at school? So I often have people saying, well, getting hidings and things like that.
Yes, I got many.
Okay, but I mean, were you scared of them eventually?
No.
I wasn't really.
No, it became fun after a while.
Because I got lots of hidings at school.
Well done.
So thank you. It's like a badge of honor in a sense. So in actual fact, the biggest fear that any child has is being alone at break time.
Interesting.
Having no friends.
Yes.
I mean, just imagine the teacher keeps you back and wants to chat to you about a few things, and then you go out and you look at where your friends normally are, but they're not there.
Yeah.
But now you go into panic. So now you're walking up and down, and you think, well, okay, well, I better go and join another group. So you kind of hang close to another group, and they look at you and they go, sorry, Willem, have you lost something? I don't see it here.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, who's this oak?
Yeah.
Because kids are cliquey. So what I'm saying is they have this.
It's a great way to look at the speaking situation.
So now,
I like that.
If you look at speakers, what do they most want? They want the audience to love them and to enjoy their keynote.
Absolutely.
So the anxiety is, what if they don't like me, and what if they don't like what I have to say?
Yes.
So all the fears basically go into one particular stream.
Absolutely.
And that stream is fear of what they will think of me and fear of making a fool of myself. So how do you prepare for that? Well, it's pretty simple. Make sure that you are prepared.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have structured your presentation in such a way that it makes a lot of sense. And make sure that you've gone through it a few times so that you know what it is you're going to deliver the audience. And funnily enough, if you stand up in front of the audience and you have done your homework, you might still feel unprepared. But then you need to click into a different gear. And the different gear is trust your preparation. Because if you have prepared and rehearsed, it'll work.
That's some very good tips, and I want to add on to that. A way to trust in your preparation is not to keep focusing on what you might do wrong, but focus on the things that you do right.
The point is, if you do a couple of things wrong, who cares, so long as you get the message across?
Well, you're being human, and people connect with other humans.
Well, exactly.
They can't connect with a perfect person.
No.
They can't do that. So I like that one. Also, if you do hit a speed wobble, and I get that sometimes when I was in Orlando East speaking, and these two guys just made it their mission to go completely disagree with me on everything. And instead of going panicky, what now? I just stood still, I paused, and I went into a nice, calm, deep breathing, and I gave them space to talk, and I gave them space to develop and everything else while remaining calm. Because the key thing that you have to remember as a speaker, you're leading this room.
Yes.
And as a leader, you can't falter in that situation. So a nice way to get calm is to go into a nice breathing technique. Because you can stop as a speaker. Who says you can't? And if you need to create something to stop and breathe, I always ask people, think about the following question a little bit.
And then you pause.
And then you pause, and then you collect your own stuff together, go like, okay.
But what you can also do is you can say to them, while you're thinking about that, I want you to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth.
And do it with me.
Absolutely.
That's a very good one, yes.
And then if that anxiety is really hitting you right at the beginning, a few minutes before you're about to do your speech, that is the ideal time to do deep breathing, because it's automatically going to relax you. Remember that it's your lungs and your air that causes your sound. So you want to use your diaphragm, you want to relax your diaphragm, but by the same token, exercise it at the same time. And by drawing in a bit of extra breath, you're powering up your red blood corpuscles and your lymphatic system. And that all helps you to relax and be able to deliver calmly.
That's a very good one. And now I want to add one last point before
my last point.
Before your last. I like this one. And then it's a bullet list of stuff. I always try to arrive at least an hour, 2 hours before my speaking time.
Absolutely.
And if I'm speaking midday or later in the afternoon, I see when lunch is or tea time. And I go and introduce myself to as many of the delegates as I possibly can.
Sure.
Number one, I collect data about them. But number two, I get to know them. And when I get on stage, I'm not talking to strangers. I'm talking to people I know.
They're your friends.
They're my friends.
Absolutely.
So now I'm going like, hey guys, remember me from there? Hold my coffee. Let me tell you about this.
Well, I think that's fabulous. And the point very simply is you're making friends with the audience. But even if you don't have that opportunity, in the back of your mind, you've got to remember that these people have not come there to catch you out or to make a fool of you.
No.
They want you to succeed. They would like to leave after your speech or your presentation and say, that was really great stuff. So if you realize that, it just already makes your job a whole lot easier.
Yeah, because if you succeed, you succeeded in providing exceptional value to your audience.
Exactly.
And they leave richer, different, and their lives are improved as a result. So they actually do want you to succeed. They don't want you to fail.
Exactly.
That's a very good point.
And if you do that, you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going to do slightly better in your next presentation.
Smashing. Well, I think that's about it for today. We can cover some other points as well. Any closing thoughts?
I think that was it, Willem.
Well done. Well, check out our social medias. Links are in the description below. Make sure that you follow this and see the next episode when we bring it out. See you soon.